iRacing and NASCAR are taking over the sports world right now, and this past weekend's event at Texas Motor Speedway was just the latest example. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove. Hope y'all are staying safe out there. We have a lot to discuss in today's video. If you missed it yesterday, I posted an interview with NASCAR Truck Series driver Natalie Decker. Really interesting, really cool to have her on the show. So because I was doing that yesterday, I didn't have a chance to talk about the TV ratings from this past weekend's race at Texas, virtual Texas, I'm sorry. I feel like I need to clarify. Maybe I don't. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. But I haven't talked about TV ratings yet. I'll talk about that in a moment. But we also have some other breaking news this morning regarding this coming weekend's iRacing Pro Invitational races at Bristol. We've got some stuff to discuss there, but I'll go and start with the TV ratings from Texas this past weekend. Remember, this race this past weekend was not just on FS1 and on the Fox Sports app, it was also on the main Fox network. Now, when they originally announced that it was going to be on Fox, a week ago, most everyone was under the impression that it was going to be nationwide. It was going to be on Fox everywhere. It was going to be national TV. That turned out to not be the case, so it was kind of misleading at first, all the initial reports. Like, for example, where I'm at, my local main Fox network did not air the NASCAR Pro Invitational race Sunday afternoon. They aired, I don't know, something else. But it was still on FS1. It was on FS1, the cable channel, everywhere, but it was only on the main Fox in a few select locations. So that was not initially made clear. Initially, people were reporting it as if it was going to be shown on the main Fox the way a normal cup race, like the Daytona 500, is shown on the main Fox, where everyone in the country can see it at the same time. That was not the case. So this last weekend's race at Texas, yes, it did get probably a small ratings boost from the fact that it was being shown on Fox in some locations, but more or less, this last weekend's race was still primarily just on cable television, FS1. And so we're going to compare it to the first race at Homestead Miami. Remember that first race, the first Pro Invitational race at Homestead Miami Speedway ended up with 903,000 viewers. That was just shown on FS1. Well, the second Pro Invitational race here at Texas Motor Speedway drew an estimated 1,339,000 viewers. Across FS1, Fox, wherever the race was being shown, more than 1.3 million viewers tuned in to an iRacing event. That Timmy Hill one. Sorry, I don't mean to disrespect Timmy Hill, but it is kind of funny. This, of course, breaks NASCAR's own record now of being the most viewed esports event on television in the history of the world, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, over a million viewers, 1.3 million, 1,339,000 people were estimated to tune in to watch this iRacing event. You guys heard me in my show last week. I predicted we'd see a pretty big increase after the hype, the promotion, the good press that Homestead Miami Speedway's inaugural Pro Invitational race got. I expected ratings to be up. When they announced it was going to be on Fox, I thought it would be close to double what it was the week before, but now seeing in hindsight that it wasn't really on the main Fox everywhere, it was not as widely broadcast as people initially assumed. 1.3 million viewers is a pretty awesome increase, given that the way the race was broadcasted really didn't change. It was still mostly on cable. And the reviews have been glowing. Last week I referred to Jeff Gluck's "Was it a good race" poll, and last week's race was like 93 or 94% yes. This week, another solid 90% yes. That's pretty high. People on Twitter like to be pessimistic, so 90% is quite stunning. I reviewed the race, gave you guys my thoughts on it Sunday evening afterwards, so if you missed that video, I encourage you to go check it out if you want to hear specifically what I thought of the race itself. But I had a good time watching it, and it's clear as day now that we've done two of these things, it's clear that NASCAR has a winner on their hands. There was always the thought that maybe just Homestead Miami was a fluke. I mean, it did help that Dale Jr. and Denny Hamlin were the ones battling for the win at the end of that thing, and it had a great finish. Maybe that boosted the ratings, maybe that boosted public opinion of it. But here, week two, the Texas race I thought was really entertaining, but it didn't have quite the same, nail-biter of a finish, I'd say. But this race here proved that iRacing, that the Pro Invitational, all this stuff is a huge success. It obviously helps that there are really no other live sports on TV right now. Like, I saw a segment on ESPN, Around the Horn. Show's been on ESPN for decades, I feel like. I grew up watching this show, and hearing their panel of hosts talk about NASCAR, talk about iRacing, and they all loved it. They were all blown away by it. The success of this Pro Invitational is obviously going to do wonders for iRacing. Reports suggest that they, just in the past week, have seen more than 5,000 new subscribers join the platform. Obviously, it's going to be huge for iRacing, for that business. It's going to want them to continue their partnership with NASCAR. That's great press. That's great. But this is going to be great for May NASCAR. Once we eventually, who knows when, but once we eventually get real race cars on the track again, this could be huge for May NASCAR. This is opening up a whole new group of fans, a whole new segment of the population to a sport that beforehand, I think a lot of them perceived as behind the times, old news, NASCAR. It's an old man sport. It's on the back nine. That was the public perception. Those people now are tuning in and seeing NASCAR do something that's cutting edge, that's new, that's innovative, and they're doing it well. I mean, I keep harping on this. The Fox broadcast each week is awesome. They're doing this the exact right way. I couldn't do it any better. This is exactly what I was asking for when they announced this thing. Everyone associated with NASCAR, with Fox, with iRacing, everyone who's put this thing together has done it exactly right, and we're seeing now that the public is eating this up. I mean, let's be real. That race at Texas Motor Speedway looked and felt a lot like a real NASCAR race. And fans loved it. So you just have to hope and believe that some of those fans that love the iRacing version of NASCAR will maybe tune into a real NASCAR race sometime soon, and hopefully they like what they see there, because it's not going to be that much different than what they saw in iRacing. It's going to look fairly similar, and you never know. Hopefully get some of those guys to a real racetrack, and once you go to a NASCAR race in person, your appreciation of the sport, everyone I've ever talked to who went to a NASCAR race for the first time says their appreciation or interest in the sport quadrupled after seeing it in person. There's nothing else quite like it. So this could be huge for NASCAR, main NASCAR, not just iRacing and everything. It's obviously going to be huge for them. Business, I'm sure Logitech is selling a crap ton of steering wheels and pedals, but this is going to be big for main NASCAR as well, which is why they continue to double down on it. This weekend's race at Bristol will once again be aired on Fox and FS1. I've noticed they've been a little more clear this time. Check your local listings. It may not be in Fox in every market, so keep an eye out, but no matter what, the race will be on FS1, so if you have cable, you will have the chance to watch the race live. But this is now where I want to transition to my other topic for this video. NASCAR is making some format changes to the Pro Invitational Series for this coming week. That didn't take long. Not even 3 races in and NASCAR is already changing the format. What a surprise. Now, but I think they're doing some pretty cool things here. So NASCAR is turning the Pro Invitational, turning this whole deal into a 2-day event. Saturday night, they're calling it Saturday Night Thunder. This coming Saturday night, they have not yet announced a specific time, but it will be streamed live on NASCAR.com. So NASCAR.com/live, you'll see it. Anyone can see it. NASCAR Xfinity Series drivers, Truck Series drivers, ARCA Menard Series drivers, Mexico Series drivers, even the Whelen Euro Series drivers will have the chance to race in ARCA Series cars on iRacing. And it sounds like they're going to be doing a series of heat races all leading up to a big main event all on Saturday night. So I don't know how long this broadcast will be. It's probably going to be a couple hours. They still have not announced a start time for it yet, but it will be Saturday night, streamed on NASCAR.com. They'll be racing at Bristol. Now, the key detail here is that none of the drivers who race in this Saturday Night Thunder thing, nobody will transfer into the race on Sunday. The Sunday race, still the Pro Invitational at Bristol this weekend, will still be aired on Fox, FS1, 1 p.m. Eastern time. There will be no drivers from Saturday night transferring over into Sunday's race. That field is strictly limited to current and former Cup Series drivers. Sunday before the main event, I've not seen if they're going to broadcast this anywhere. Maybe they'll broadcast this on NASCAR.com as well, but they're going to do a couple of heat races to determine the starting lineup for the main show that happens at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox and FS1. But in a nutshell, that is the new format. So gone now is the transfer race, the last chance qualifier, some have been calling it, that they were doing Sunday morning before the Pro Invitational. Now they've just moved all those Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and other series drivers over to Saturday night. They can all race, bunch of heat races. That's their night to shine, and then Sunday is still going to be dedicated to the usual Cup Series crowd. I like this for some reasons. I also don't like this for others. I do like that they're giving all these drivers the chance to show their stuff on Saturday night. I like this as a whole nother day now of racing action for fans to sit at home and watch. And I like that they've opened this up now so we have the chance to see a lot of different names come from a lot of different NASCAR disciplines, all competing in one place, virtually of course, but I think that's cool, giving them their own night to shine, giving them their own event to focus on. Yes, it's not on national TV, so the ratings will not be what the Cup Series thing is, but it's still pretty cool. I like that a lot. But I do wish there was some incentive for the people who race on Saturday night to maybe race into the big show on Sunday, because that's where the viewership is on Sunday's race. And for some of those guys who maybe are trying to sell sponsorship for this, that could be huge for them and their business during this off time if they're able to qualify into the big show. I mean, we saw this past weekend, some of the guys that raced in the last chance qualifier ran really well in the big race. Ty Majeski, Alex LeBay. Those guys are now going to be forced to only race on Saturday night, which, is that fair? I don't know. Obviously, the people are tuning in to watch Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Denny. They're tuning in to watch those guys on Sunday. Not very many people, I'll be honest, are tuning in to watch Ty Majeski on Sunday. I like Ty Majeski. That's not why I'm tuning in on Sunday. He's not the draw. He's not at the top of the ticket. So I understand a little bit of why NASCAR is doing this. They want to keep that reserved to the Cup Series crowd. It's easiest for them to manage, I guess. But I would like for there to be some incentive. Like the top 2 finishers from Saturday make it to this, like, I just don't see why that's really an issue. I don't know why they felt the need to get rid of that, but it is what it is. At least now it gives all these Xfinity Truck, other series drivers their whole night to themselves, prime time, yeah, it's online only, but it's prime time still, gives them their chance to shine. I do like that aspect of it. I just wish there's a little bit more incentive to maybe get a couple of those names into the big show on Sunday. But there you have it. Saturday Night Thunder and the Pro Invitational. It's now a 2-day event this weekend at Bristol, and I assume going forward. I mean, even if they just did like a fan vote, maybe the winner from Saturday night and then maybe a fan vote winner gets into the show on Sunday, I just think you're missing out on an opportunity for more fan engagement and more driver engagements. More drivers will be interested in the Saturday night stuff if they know there's a shot of them making it to Sunday. I think that would just up the stakes for the Saturday Night Thunder thing a bit more. But that's just me. I'll be curious to know. I wonder what NASCAR's reasoning behind it is. I guess it is just because they want Sunday to be dedicated to their main Cup Series guys. It's easiest for them to manage, and they want to reserve those spots. Because there are still some Cup Series drivers that have not raced in these first couple events. Like Kevin Harvick has not yet raced. I heard he might. I think he's going to race this weekend. Other guys like Eric Almirola, I don't think I've seen him. He wasn't in there last week. Martin Truex Jr. still hasn't raced. Bobby Labonte's been filling his seat for him. Corey LaJoie's another one that may or may not get in on this thing at some point or another. So there are still some Cup Series guys. Maybe that's what the thought process is, because I think they want to keep the field on the Cup Series side of things to 35 or less. Right now they're already at like 30, and if those 4 or 5 guys I just named eventually want to go over there and race, they're going to fill those last few spots. There just may not be room for people from the lower series. That might be their rationale. I'm not an iRacing expert, so I don't know, somebody in the chat maybe can enlighten me on that one, possibly what their thought process was. But there you have it. That is the news for today. I saw a rumor as well, IndyCar did their version of like their Pro Invitational with a lot of IndyCar stars. They streamed that on Twitch on their YouTube channel this past weekend. I saw numbers that were in the hundreds of thousands estimated for total viewership. So there's a chance NBCSN, which is NBC's very tight with IndyCar. They broadcast the whole IndyCar schedule usually. We might see some IndyCar iRacing races on NBCSN here in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that if you're any IndyCar fans out there. iRacing, esports, e-racing, NASCAR, all that stuff has taken over the sports world. It really has. I want to go back to the Around the Horn segment I was watching earlier in the show. I'm not going to show too much of the clip here. I don't know how stingy ESPN is with copyright on YouTube, so I'm not going to test them here. But the host of the show, Tony Reale, kept trying to turn the subject back to like NBA. Like, would you guys like to see an NBA 2K type tournament with real players playing as each other and stuff like that? Would you rather see that? And pretty much all the panelists that he was going to there said no, they prefer what iRacing is doing. They prefer watching the NASCAR race because it was closer to real life and they were really impressed by it. That's crazy that ESPN hosts were basically derailing the show. The show was supposed to go an NBA route, and these ESPN panelists were derailing it to talk about NASCAR and iRacing. That's what it was. I mean, go and watch the clip. Go find the clip. It's pretty remarkable to watch. The host of the show was getting frustrated. He's like, guys, don't you want to talk about LeBron? No, those hosts wanted to talk about Denny Hamlin. Isn't that crazy? It's absolutely insane. Anyway, this is, every day it feels more and more like the Twilight Zone in here. Anyway, that's all I've got for this episode. Thank you all a ton for watching. Hope everyone's staying safe out there. Subscribe if you are new. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And a big thank you, of course, to my Patreon supporters. I could not do this show without the support I get from each and every single one of you. If you also want to support the channel, check out that top link down in the description. I greatly appreciate it. I feel like I'm busier now than I was during the actual season. And I was traveling a lot. I just feel like now there's so much going on. There's a lot of exciting things in the works behind the scenes. I hope I get to share some of it with you guys in the not so distant future. Again, if you missed it, Natalie Decker was on the show yesterday. I encourage you all to go check that one out. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on right now. This Sunday morning before the Pro Invitational, we'll be once again doing a pre-race live stream. I did it this past weekend with Jordan Anderson, Truck Series driver, and Raja Karuth, esports iRacing driver. We'll be doing that again this coming Sunday morning. I believe Spencer Boyd, another Truck Series regular, will be joining us this week. So keep an eye out for that one. That will be going live about an hour or so before the Pro Invitational begins. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be pushing that out here very shortly. But thank you all a ton for the support. I will see you again very, very soon. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody.